Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video here at The Shed Organics. Today, we're talking about why you should not be going out to the hardware store or the garden center and buying your brand new plants. Now, this is because, first things first, garden centers and main hardware stores and things like this, big chains we're talking about, these main ones, like for instance, here in Australia, we have Bunnings, we have Mitre 10, we have quite a few different garden center chains and things like this. But when you're heading to the garden center, a lot of those plants weren't actually planted there at the garden center. And if it's your local store, this might seem like it's similar to some of the food we have around the world, where it's traveled many miles before it actually lands on our doorstep in your garden center. Now, there's a big reason why that's important, and you may or may not have come across this problem already. You might bring your plant, brand new plant, home from the hardware store, and all of a sudden it's suffering big time. In the hardware store or the garden center, it looked beautiful. It was like lush, lots of nice green leaves, flowers, even, whatever it might be. You bring it home, you pop it where you want it, and then all of a sudden it starts suffering. Now, there's a few reasons that can cause this. Primarily environment. And when we're talking about environment, we're being very specific about where the genetic is best suited. So, for example, if you're getting something up here in Queensland that was planted down in Tasmania in a much colder climate, when you bring it up to the heat, it's going to suffer. It's genetically not built for the summer up here in Queensland. Now, if you were to go and get a plant from somewhere that was brought up in Queensland and then gets sent down to Tasmania, for example, or Melbourne or Adelaide, can get very, very cold sometimes. It's not going to be able to deal with the low temperatures. So it works both ways. Now, there's ways we can fix this, okay? Obviously, you can just ask. You can say, hey, were these planted here? Were they planted nearby? Were they in a big facility that had a controlled environment? We don't know. In some of these commercial facilities, there are these situations where seeds are brought up from the get-go in very controlled conditions. So when you get them and you have the volatility, or I don't even know if that's a word, the volatile climate that we have in certain areas of Australia, you're going to deal with a lot of plant issues straight away that the plant is not used to dealing with and often can suffer. You then might have, in particular, fruiting trees and things like this are not going to last over these few years, or they might be stunted for a fair few years before they actually get some legs and get up and go. So, there's a few things we can do. Okay. First one is ask the question. Okay. Where was this planted? Where is this genetic from? Is this a Queensland genetic? Has it been harvested locally? Was it planted locally? Etc. 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 The second thing we can do, which is kind of a more broader thing that we want to consider maybe before going to the hardware store, as I alluded to earlier, is asking around locally. Okay. We've got amazing Facebook groups. That's a really, really good start. Community pages, like type into your community page, hey, looking for a cutting of XYZ, looking for a wonderful orange seed or whatever it might be. But someone might have grown it in their garden and they've produced these wonderful seeds that are genetically suited to a, for example, Queensland environment. So Facebook groups and community pages is one of them. Okay. Linked very closely to that is some online community seed swaps and things like this. Buy, swap, sell in terms of plants. There's so many of these pages. So type them in into Facebook and Google and things like this, and you will find some wonderful, wonderful options in your local area. Now, there's community gardens, okay? I've seen quite a few community gardens popping up around Brisbane. I'm sure if you kept your ear to the ground, you might find a few more. in your local area where you're popping to coffee or something, having conversations, you might see a plant that you want, or a neighbor or someone down the street might have that exact plant or tree that you are after. So ask, reach out. We need more of communication in our society and in our communities. So community communication. I love that nice little double. It's perfect. Start talking to people, get interested in what people are growing, and share produce. It's what we need to get back to. It's our roots, essentially. This is what we used to do as hunter-gatherers and tribes. We would share things and grow things and basically be able to prosper because of each other. Now, I believe humans are big pollinators on this planet. We have the ability to take a seed and take it all over the world and cross-pollinate and change all of the genetic predispositions and genetic codes of all of these plants and actually create things. So us humans are great pollinators, but it really, really gives you that head start if we are getting something that's already suited well to this environment. So this video is really just to give you a couple of ideas and to start a bit of a thread down below. So if you have any other ideas of things, of places and suggestions for seeds or for cuttings or for finding plants, then drop them down below because we're going to try and help out our community. So, in short, to conclude, okay, before you go to the hardware store, before you go to the garden center, okay, check out online, check some Facebook pages, ask your neighbors, check around, see who might have wonderful produce that you can share. Then, either if you want something very specific or if you're after, you simply cannot find it anywhere else, then you can go down to your hardware store, but make sure to ask, where was it brought up? Because then if it did come from Tasmania, you have the chance to have a sort of head start and think about, okay, maybe I'll start with it inside or start with it just in some part shade and slowly graduate it out towards that full sun. So a few considerations. Again, if I missed anything, throw it down into the comments section. But I wanted to just share with you why you definitely should be checking before you go and buy your plants from the hardware store. So thanks again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Really helps the algorithm and helps my channel out. I really want to get some more information out to as many people as possible so that we can really help more people and inspire them to get in the garden and grow their own food at home organically. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.